He told us, guys, if you wanna have one contract with the government that would enable you to connect with all different public transit operators, it would take years. So instead of that, go straight forward to the operators themselves, sign up contracts with them, and then the government would adopt.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Turing, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Today, we're going to talk about transportation in Israel from the payments perspective. Meet Ofer Sinai, the co-founder of HopOn. HopOn is the pioneer app for transit payments in Israel. It serves more than 1 million users a month, which use their services for navigating and paying through their commute on buses, trains, and big taxis. HopOn today has presence in 5 different countries, which includes Russia, Germany, Czech Republic, UK, and Israel. It was founded in 2013 by Ofer Sinai while he was taking his daily commute from Petah Tikva towards KPMG office in Tel Aviv. Ofer Sinai, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you?
Doing great, thank you.
Great. The co-founder of HopOn, I'm excited to hear about the journey of public transportation, digital payments in an old regulated industry, but coming in and digitalizing it with investors from all over the world, including transportation companies within Israel, but also from Germany, and most recently a car importer also, I believe, invested just over $4.5 million. And so a really exciting journey, and I'm excited to pick your brain about really what is HopOn and take me back, even almost 10 years ago to the founding of it and what was sort of, going through your mind back then.
All right. So it wasn't 10 years ago. It was 2013. So back then I was actually working at a local KPMG firm in Tel Aviv offices in the city center. And I used to live in Petah Tikva. And I was actually doing my daily commute with Route 51 of Dan company, the bus operator of Tel Aviv. And it took me about a year to travel Route 51 on a daily basis, and I realized the bus is spending too much time at bus stops. That means during rush hours, instead of just fighting against the traffic, the bus is actually stopping at bus stop for too much time. And too much time means that back then it can take up to 4 minutes per station just to accept people and allow people to step in and pay their rides. And this is one example of thing that it was sitting in my mind every day while I was commuting. I was measuring how much time it takes, the bus to get out from the bus stop. And what threw me into the public transit market eventually was one time that I was actually hopping on the bus together with my friend. We didn't have any cash, so we were actually telling the driver, sorry, we are out of cash. Is it something else we can do? And then my friend, he told me, oh, listen, I have a $2 bill. I have dollar bills because he was renting apartments in Tel Aviv back then for tourists. So he always have US dollars, but never shekels. So he just said, all right, so let's pay with dollars. So we asked the driver, is it okay for us to pay with US dollars? Say, yeah, why not? And we realized immediately what's happening here. Okay, this is a very old-fashioned market that was stuck, I don't know, somewhere in the mid of last century, and we realized that something has to be changed because if this is how money is being transferred from passengers, users to the bus driver, definitely something is wrong. And that was the slap that actually threw us into the market, and we start to learn the industry and to understand who are the players and what we can actually build and offer in order to improve and to digitize the payment in in our local bus market. And so we scheduled up a meeting with the guy who was the CFO of that company, same company, Dan. And we actually told him the same story, that what happened for us. And he realized that something is definitely wrong. And we offered him, all right, so we're going to put an app that would enable people to use their mobile phones and pay the bus ride. It sounds very simple, but it wasn't there. So we actually had to invent it and build it, and it took some time. But lucky for us today, just in Tel Aviv, or in actually entire Gush Dan, we are facing almost 1 million passengers per month using our services to pay the local public transit network. Which is amazing, because and using our technology, we actually enabled the public transit operators, not just in Tel Aviv but all through the country, to avoid getting cash on board. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but today when you go on board into all of the buses in the country, not just in Tel Aviv, you're not able to pay the driver by cash anymore. And this is only because that there was a technology that can actually be an alternative for those old-fashioned cash transaction on board. And so this is it.
Now, take me back, I guess, 8 years, and you're with your friend, and you're observing these inefficiencies of the bus, and you were going back to that exact point where you're watching, the bus is stopping for too long. What do you understand about, the reason why the bus is stopping? How do you arrive at the end of the conclusion that, by digitalizing the payment system, you're actually going to be able to solve many of the issues that you are facing personally in your own commute?
Yeah, so my background is actually a financial one. So immediately what I was actually doing when I was measuring how much time is being spent per each bus stop, I was just putting all the data in an Excel file. And I was just, trying to figure out what are the numbers, what are the costs, how much it costs that company, again, that Dan company, which has 1,500 buses, thousands of drivers, spending millions of shekel every month on gas and fuel. How much that costs them to when the bus stays 4 minutes in each bus stop during rush hours. And I was amazed. Okay, we are talking about millions of shekels each month that are being spent just to allow people to step in and step out and pay, pay the ride. So, and this is right. The reason we went to meet with the CFO, we didn't want to meet with anyone else from the company. We want to meet with the CFO in order to show him it's not just that you are old-fashioned. You are actually losing money because you are old-fashioned. And he was okay. He was convinced immediately. Later on, he became a partner. He became a shareholder when we started the company, because we met him. We just had an idea. Okay, so he told us, guys, go ahead. Let's go build a company, build a product, and let's do it. And he said on the same meeting, he said, I want to be one of your shareholders because I think what you are doing and solving up my issue can help other companies as well. And I believe that Dan today is one of the biggest shareholders of HopOn, right? Yeah. And so it's obviously that's a huge vote of confidence. Share with me a little bit. It's exciting to talk about old industries getting this renovation and getting this this digital evolution. I remember paying cash at on buses. It's been forever. It's been like this, obviously, and until recently it was also like this. And so you're actually changing a very big shift in consumer behavior. And I'm guessing that it's not just a simple okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's change the whole system here in Israel. What were some of the challenges that you faced, even regulatory wise, that as you were building this product with Dan? All right, so of course, the public transit industry in Israel is very regulated. Okay, all different public transit operators, and there are more than 10 different private companies who are actually operating the mass transit network for the government, for the MOT, Ministry of Transportation, and they are all regulated by the MOT. and they cannot adopt any change into the payment system without getting the approval from the MOT. So it's not just convincing the client, we had to
Right.
also convince the regulator that it is also good for him, because
Right.
once there are less cash transaction on board, there is less fraud, vehicles are moving faster, and eventually people are getting faster into their destination. So we made, lucky for us, we found the right guy at the MOT offices back then, which was a visionary like us, and he told us, guys, you know what, you got my approval, okay, but you don't really need my approval. You have to go through all the public transit operators and convince them, and you need to have my support from the back, okay, because if you want to have a contract with me as a government, it would take years. So go after the market, go to the transit operator in your case, convince them, sign up contracts with them, and we will give them the support that they need in order to move further with you. And this is exactly what we did. And he was right, because some like 6 or 7 years after that, the government decided, okay, I want to regulate the new payment or the new market of the payment for the public transit. And there was a big tender back in 2019 that the government had published. And lucky for us, we won the tender as well. And now we have the contract with the government to run public transit payments all over the country. But again,
wow,
he was right. It took the government almost some like 8 years, okay,
wow,
since we even met that guy. He was positive, he wasn't negative at all, he was positive. But he told us, guys, if you want to have one contract with the government that would enable you to connect with all different public transit operators, it would take years. So instead of that, go straight forward to the operators themselves, sign up contracts with them, and then the government would adopt. So that was the model that worked for us. Yeah.
So now that it's everywhere basically, and it's successful, and you're seeing the results. What's changed? What's changed in the behavior of the consumers, of the buses? Anything surprising, or things that you expected and actually did happen?
So first of all, I'm happy to say buses are. It's not us saying. It's people who are investigating the market can definitely say that over the past years, buses are moving even faster than they used to move. Okay, and the main element here that was changed is the amount of time that those buses are spending at the bus stops. Okay, even though the traffic is getting worse from a day to day, definitely in a city center, but buses are spending less time at the bus stop, and eventually people are getting faster into their destinations, which is a very, very good result. And on the other hand, there is less fraud. Okay, once you take away the cash and you take away the involvement of the driver himself, so first of all, less fraud, and secondly, very, very important, more secured and a safe ride. I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago there was a very big accident on one of the public transit buses, and one of the outcomes was that the drivers were used to deal with so many things during their ride and during while they were driving, and again today, if you are a bus driver, you don't deal with anything else. You just drive.
I remember years riding the buses and being amazed at how the bus drivers are simultaneously, stopping the
Yeah,
bus, collecting payments
giving
from
change.
old passengers, giving change, doing everything with one hand, looking in one direction, looking at the street, riding in a lane with bikes and other cars in the same lane, stopping every 2 seconds, talking to the person in the back that wants to get off. It was and I was thinking to myself, this is crazy. This has to change. So I'm really happy to hear that it is changing. Definitely.
Yeah, and you know what else? We found out that the public transit companies, it's very hard for them to get more drivers to drive the buses. The demand here today, according to public transit operators, there in the country there are missing like 3,000 bus drivers.
Wow.
Okay, but today when they are putting advertisement to get more drivers, they're actually using that element. You don't have to deal with the cash anymore. Why don't you become a bus driver? And it's not just changing the life of the passengers, also changing the life of the bus drivers that used to be like a cashier, and now they are just driving.
And it makes you what you've actually done is you not just created a win-win situation, but you've created a win-win-win-win situation. Obviously HopOn is successful. Dan is enjoying more passengers, more unique passengers, and is enjoying more money that is more regulated and doesn't have to count change. The drivers are having a better time, and consumers are much happier because they don't have to carry change in their pockets, especially as we enter a world where everything is completely digital payments. Now, before we get to some more personal questions about you, tell me a little bit about the decision using barcodes and the way that you integrated this. Not traditionally, it could have they could have implemented a simple swipe of a credit card like in vending machines, or potentially, with Apple Pay. So why was your solution the one that makes most sense?
All right. So first of all, we're talking about old-fashioned market. Okay, not most of the players here. They don't want to invest money. So if you put in another hardware into the bus, that means you have to pay initial amount of money in order to integrate the hardware into the bus, and that would kill the project. Okay, because once you come with, and it doesn't matter whether it's a couple of hundred shekels or 1,000 shekels per bus, it would kill the project. So we had to come with something which is very, very simple, makes sense, and also good for the user in terms of user experience. So that was it. On most of Dan buses, alongside with the QRs, we also equipped the buses with beacons. Are you familiar with beacons? So today all of Dan buses has beacons, and over the next few months we're gonna enable people to go on board, and instead of going to the QR and scanning the QR, they'll be able just to open up the app. The app would recognize the beacon that is there.
Amazing.
And would enable them to validate the ride and pay the ride without having to go and look or find the right QR. Again, if people doesn't want to give the permission for Bluetooth or etc., so they would still be able to scan those QRs.
Ofer, very, very cool. I love, the intersection of technology and how we're interacting with our day-to-day world. This is not another product that people, you're creating a whole new market for new people to go and buy online. You're changing the way people are already interacting with their physical world, and I think that's just awesome. And I have a few questions to you now as the co-founder of HopOn.
Yeah, sure.
Going back all the way to middle school or high school, what was your favorite subject? What fascinated you as a kid?
So since I came for a religious school, okay, and I'm not doing that anymore these days, but Talmud, Gemara.
Yeah.
I truly believe that, because I was learning Gemara when I was a kid. I thought about it as okay, why the hell the teacher forced me to learn Gemara, and why do I have to learn Gemara, and why do I have to know Aramaic, which is a very old language. Nobody uses that anymore.
Right.
But I truly believe that it gave me a visionary, and it gave me tools today that helps me to solve problems. Or once, on the business side, you are dealing with many, many problems every day. Okay, so you have to come with the tools that would help you to solve those problems along the way. And I truly believe that learning Talmud and Gemara definitely helps me today, every day, even though I'm not learning too much Gemara today, but the background is there and the knowledge is, I hope, is still there.
Perfect. And what about a source of inspiration? Somebody that inspires you, a role model of some sort?
So I can say my father, but if we're talking about someone that's not from a family, so that would be my first commander in the army. Okay, so I was in a tank unit back then, and the commander of the platoon, he was very strict guy. But I was with him on few battles. Okay, we fought together back in Gaza Strip, and I'm talking about that was in 2004, and I was amazed by him. Okay, he was inspiring me, and it took me here to say, okay, I was actually admiring this guy.
Very, very, very cool. And what are 3 words that you would use to describe yourself?
So it's kind of easy for me today. I'm actually a mobility geek. Okay.
Yeah.
So that means I love mobility, and it doesn't matter whether these are new electric vehicles or scooters or car sharing or whatever. I'm definitely a mobility geek. I'm trying to adopt whatever I can, and also because again we are facing almost 1 million passengers every month. We are
Wow.
trying to make their mobility and their commute even better. And
Amazing.
yes,
Very, very, very cool. Ofer, I really want to thank you for being here with me. This was wonderful and very insightful, and I really enjoyed getting a peek into a transformation that is happening in the transportation space. So thank you for that,
thank
and
you.
stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye bye.